Good evening, everyone, and welcome to week 2 of the JN Circle Thrive Together Life class. I'm so excited to be back in this space this evening. For those of you who were on last week, you would have experienced a really great trajectory throughout the whole session, and we're back this week with more great energy. I'd love to point your attention as you come in to our Thrive-O-Meter poll that's still in session. We're wrapping it up now. So please jump on and give us a feedback as to how you're doing today. No judgment, whatever answer you're feeling, that's the right answer, okay? So please go ahead and answer the poll and we'll share the results shortly. So again, I'm your host, I'm Kamala McWhinney. I'm an associate clinical psychologist, a relationship coach, and a wellness consultant. And I like to think of myself as a friend of JN. And this evening, I am joined by 4 amazing panelists. And by the time we finish, I'm sure you're going to agree with me, all right? So let me jump into those introductions shortly. But before we get there, I wanted us to have some housekeeping conversation with us for how we can spend our time together this evening, yeah? So I'm going to share my slide just to give you a sense of what to expect. And then we'll go into how we can utilize the Zoom webinar platform for greatest efficiency. Everybody can see this, right? So we want to have a stellar experience, and we would love for us to do that by showing respect to all the participants all the time. So we're going to keep the comments always leveled up, always good energy, always constructive, okay? Because we're here to grow and to thrive together. So we definitely want to create a space where what we say to each other reflects that. So we have a couple things that can make our session most interactive. We have the Q&A feature. We also have the raised hand feature, and we have the chat. Now, specifically, the Q&A section is for questions to the panelists. The chat can be just for your feedback, showing some love, you know, busting a blank, all these things. But we want to reserve the Q&A specifically for question and answer so that we can easily pick up the questions and as much as possible give some attention to those so that everybody can walk away from this evening's class feeling expanded and having leveled up. As it pertains to the raise hand feature, just have a look at this icon and you can see it at the bottom of your screen, depending on what device you're using, so that we can pick you at different points, and we can definitely call upon you from time to time to give your feedback on the microphone, okay? So class is now in session. I'm understanding that you're not seeing my screen, so let me reshare it really quickly. Okay, seeing it now, excellent. So this evening's panelists, we have Ms. Carla Moore. She's artist, activist, academic, and alchemist, who also happens to lecture in gender studies and development at the University of the West Indies. We're also joined by Joby J, singer, songwriter, all-around artist, because she's also a photographer. We have the single male on our panel, and we're so happy to have him, Noran Price. He's a marketing and advertising consultant and graphic artist. He's also a father. Sevana is a singer and songwriter and all-around bright spark. And we're going to be engaging these very fabulous panelists this evening to have a fulsome convo, right? So if you're ready, let's get going. All right. So I mentioned the panelists that we have. We have Carla Moore. I'm going to start with Carla, right? And I'm going to invite everybody to listen carefully and to feel free to just jump into the comment section, into the chat section, show your love, give your feedback. And if you want to ask a question of any of the panelists, just state it in the Q&A and tell us if it's a particular panelist that you'd like to answer, okay? So Carla, our topic this evening is self-love, right? Self-care is self-love. And we're talking about that as it relates specifically to being single in the time of COVID especially, right? And there are some people who are not so happy when they hear the term single. So I want to start off with that, Carla. I have a sense of what your answer is going to be, but let me ask it nonetheless. Carla, is single necessarily a bad thing? Is it a bad word?
Single is not a bad word at all, Kamala. And I mean, thank you for just being how gentle in how you deal with these things. And thank you to Jane for creating this space, because single is hard. Most of us don't want to be single, right? Because single is lonely. Single is I'm broken down on the side of the road. Who do I call to come and pick me up? Single is nobody no want me. I'm running out of time to have this baby. Did a donkey bite me? Single is all of these things, right? But I am deliberately single, or as I like to say, I'm single on purpose. I choose to be single for a reason, right? I had some issues that were between me, things that I needed to sort out with myself. But when you're in a relationship, a lot of times you don't pay attention to yourself, right? And a lot of us, we start dating in high school or university, and then we just keep dating. And there's really a break where you are deliberately single for the purpose of working on yourself. And I realized that there were these things, sometimes you realize that you just always seem to end up in the same relationship, regardless of how different the partners look at the start. You just keep ending up with the same somebody. And you're like, but how? One was a banker, the other one was a thief, the next one was an athlete. Like, how? You, right? The issue is you. And it's actually your issues that are being mirrored back to you by this partner. So I decided that I needed some time for myself, because sometimes when you're in a relationship, you can feel stingy when you decide to take that time for yourself because your partner has needs and you can't meet them. Sometimes there's not enough hours in a day to attend to somebody else's needs as well as your own. And so I've been deliberately single so that I can figure out what I want in a relationship. Some of us are like, don't want to be married, don't want to be single. Am I monogamous? Am I polyamorous? Should I just skip to being a cat lady or like a dog man? I don't know what men become. Like, we become cat ladies. It's not clear what men become, like dog. What do y'all get? Puppies, lions, tigers, whatever. Like, should I just skip to that? Because it's never going to work. And then it's like, well, have you stopped to think about what fulfills you in a relationship? Have you stopped to think about what an ideal relationship looks like for you? Have you stopped to figure out what makes you happy, instead of expecting your partner to do that work every time? Because some of us are always looking for new experiences through new partners. You cannot date the whole world. Go and get to know yourself. What makes you sad? It's not them that's making you sad all the time. You came into this sad. I was sad from I was a child. But once you start dating, you get somebody you can scapegoat. Oh, you hurt me. You were hurt. You were hurt. And then the partner just reflected that back to you, right? What makes you happy? What do you want? So for me, singledom is actually a gift that I give to myself. Singledom for me is self-care. It is the gift of my own attention, focused only on me. And that's what it is for me. And it's absolutely, it is the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Thank you so much for coming out so strong, Miss, right? To start off. I'm seeing already some support in the comment section for your very exuberant share. Cassandra says she's so correct. You really need time to work on yourself. 5% said nothing, 8% COVID information, and 14% saying they wanted access to private counseling. So we're taking notes of all of these responses. Thank you for sharing. And question 4 said, what is your relationship status? So we have 77% of our viewers are single, and single includes unmarried, widowed, divorced, common law union, right? Married, 17%, and it's complicated, 12% of you waiting on that one. A big question for many of us. Number 5, I want to get married. 73% say yes, and 29% have responded no. Question 6, I'm comfortable being single. 70% come out strong and said, yes, I'm comfortable, and 32% said no. So there we have it. We have, I think, the right audience at the right time for us to talk some more truths and to really get to the meat of the matter as it relates to the singleness topic. Yeah, just to read a couple more of the comments. Let me jump in here. Danny says, I do and don't want to be single. It's not bad, but there comes a point where I don't know whether I'm being intentionally single or scared to be in a relationship. And by the end of our class, hopefully I'm gonna call upon Danny again to just give your thoughts, and if you've come to some understanding of which one it really is. To continue the fabulous convo, I'm going to jump over now to the lady Sevana to just give me an idea of, Sevana, what are your thoughts about the singleness story? Does it serve a purpose? Is it uncomfortable? Does it have to be? And is it something that we can all learn something from?
Right. I think that singleness is absolutely purposeful. If anything, I think once you recognize that you have a need for a relationship, I think that you need to be single first. You should decide to be single first and
Mhm.
work on whatever issues, and you'll see your issues based on the relationship that you already have cultivated with your friends, and the things that they say to you, and also things that you would struggle with as far as like maybe being impatient or being quick to anger and all the rest of it. So I think that once you recognize it, say, I want a partner, I want somebody to cycle along with, you need to just go straight into singleness and be intentional about it, and be celebratory about it, and be, just write down your issues, figure out what causes your reactions to things, and then maybe you will be a useful partner in a relationship. I think it's purposeful. I think
Wow.
that it shouldn't be miserable. I mean, I guess the parts that you're figuring out what the ugly parts of yourself looks like, that's not going to be fun, but it's going to be necessary. And that's what I think about singleness. And I'm also intentionally single. So yeah.
I love that, Savannah. Thank you for sharing. There's so much wisdom in what you said, especially the
Thank
part
you.
about being celebratory. Like something can go so for real. Like you can
Yeah.
actually be single and say, hey, like I'm celebrating the fact that I'm being intentional about this. I see my panelists nodding. Let me jump over to Joby. Joby, what are your thoughts on this very, for some people, outlandish concept of not being ashamed to state status outrightly of being single, but to own it and say, yeah, I'm single and I'm single on purpose. What are your thoughts?
Um, I think we put too much pressure on ourselves, and I think we allow how we've been socialized and what we see as the norm to put pressure on us as it relates to relationships. I don't think anything is wrong with being single. I mean, I feel like that should be a normal thing. I don't think it should be something that's frowned upon as well. And I also agree with a lot of what Sevana and Carla said about being single and getting to know yourself and being okay with being alone, being okay with your own space, your own time, your own energy. That is so important, because in that time you can use that time alone or that time being single to learn a lot about yourself. And as Savannah said, sometimes the things that you have to learn in that period is not always positive. Sometimes you learn that you have some ways when are really so nice. And I mean, in that time you can think about it. And I mean, it doesn't have to be this single, like how society makes it seem like, oh, you're single, something is wrong with you, or you're not attractive, or you're not successful. People can be intentionally single, as Carla said and as Sev said. Nothing is wrong with that. It's really nice to be okay with yourself and to be secure in yourself and to be happy, being alone and with yourself, because that will also translate when you get into a relationship. It makes things a lot better when you're not in the relationship because you want somebody to make you happy. You're already happy with yourself. So I don't think it should be something that's frowned upon. I don't think it should be a taboo topic or something that we make complicated. I just think because we're used to the conversations that are normally had around singleness, so it becomes this weird thing. But I don't think it should be a weird thing. Yeah.
Thank you, Joby. And I heard you drop another very powerful gem in all that you shared. It's that society kind of puts on certain stigmas on singleness. Automatically, it means that nobody's choosing you. You're not desirable enough to be chosen in too many spaces. And then you also mentioned that there possibly is a danger in putting the expectations of your own happiness completely in somebody else's hands. Yeah. And I feel like,
Somebody else.
especially with the images that some of us as girls grew up with from we're yay high, we grew up with this notion of there is going to come a man who is meant for you, right? A partner who's meant for you. And that person is going to come and rescue you into perfect bliss. And not until you find that partner, or that partner finds you, yes, will you be living your best life. And especially with spaces like Instagram, where everybody is, booed up and paid up and flashing all the fabulous images on there, the pressure can really come, the social comparison pressure. But you know what I'm curious about, ladies and gentlemen, and for our attendees who I see the number climbing and I'm so happy. I know that for us as women, the pressure is real, because I think it was Carla or Sevana who touched on it in terms of, It's not just about being in a relationship, but all the spin-offs that people expect to come from the relationship. Now, one to the baby, yeah? When they're going to turn a mother, right? When they're going to get the ring, as if you must just go, grab the man and say, give me a ring. But the pressure is put on us to get the ring, yes? To be wife material enough to get the ring. But I'm curious about from the men's perspective, Noran. We have to come straight to you on this one. Is there a similar level of pressure?
Yeah, there can be, depending on, the environment you grew up in and who you are social with. So the pressure might be, like myself, I'm divorced. I've been divorced for quite some time. But what I would get a lot of times is, so are you ever going to get married again? But it's asked in a way where it's almost as if they expect me to say, marriage, no, evil. That's kind of the tone they use. And I think marriage is a wonderful institution. The most important thing is that you make sure it's with the right person. So we also have that pressure to remarry or get married in the first place, have children, have more children. I have one child, and I constantly ask, so when are you going to give her a little brother or a little sister? And nobody has stopped to ask if I want to do that.
Listen.
But it's almost like it's expected because of that's how we raise. Your bird can't fly upon one wing, as I was told by somebody. So we have a level of pressure that is nowhere close to yours, but we have a lot of pressure. And again, it depends on the kind of environment you grow up in. Because if you grow up around men who say, you don't have no youth, something wrong with you. Or it's almost as if you are expected to just have kid after kid after kid because man must have worried about youth. And it all depends on not just how you grow up, but where you grow up and what you let seep into here, what you decide to follow. So that's our pressure. It's nowhere close to yours, but we do have our pressure.
Thank you for that, Noran. And I believe you. And I think an important distinction that you raised is the fact that it in some ways depends on where you grow up, what space you're in, because different spaces value different things. You understand? For some people, a man getting married is a sign of responsibility. Where in some spaces, it's like, where you go with that? What kind of one burner business is that? So, there are different perspectives. Yeah. I am hearing several buzzes in my comment section and I live for it. So let me get a couple of them in before we move on to the next element of our convo. I see Paulette saying there is also a stigma attached to being single, especially if you're at a certain age. It's almost like people start fret for you, right? Like, but how come you reach here? So you have the degree, you have the car, so what happened today, And people don't get it, that it's an individual choice. I see. Let me scroll up. Antoinette says, I agree with both ladies. I was single for over a year. It allows me to work on my faults and self-development as an individual. Learning more about me that I didn't discover while I was involved, and it has helped me in so many ways. Thank you for that, Antoinette. And we also have a question in our box that I think all our panelists can see. Somebody's asking, my life feels unfulfilled. How do I fix myself at this stage? I'm well over 60, I'm a divorcee. So we're coming to that question. We're gonna tease it out because that's an important thing. And I so commend you for your vulnerability and for your honesty, because also in some spaces to own up to the fact that I don't feel fulfilled, people start to look at you like, but you have life and you have this and you have job, as if you were complaining about everything. Yeah. That raised a very important question for us panelists too, and for all my audience family. And it is how we speak to each other. Noran referenced it in terms of the people who love to come with the preaching of bird can't fly on one wing. When they're going to give your daughter a playmate. Noran, your daughter is a teenager at this stage, right?
Yes, she is.
Yes, but people are still concerned, I imagine, about her having a younger sibling. And on the women's side,
especially when they ask me. Sorry to cut you. I get asked a question of if I want another child, and I will tell them directly, no, I have no desire to have another child. And I'm seen as something must wrong with you. Why wouldn't you want more than one? I'm perfectly happy to devote my time to her for the rest of her and my life. But I don't actually want another child. If I was to get with somebody who already has a child, then perfect. But for myself, I have no desire to have another child.
And Noran, it's a personal choice. I'm seeing here where I think it's Claudine, I'm not sure, raise a very valid issue. Why is it that we even talk about singleness as preparation for coupling? Why can't people just choose to not want to be with somebody? And I mean, from a psychological perspective, generally, and I use those terms very often, Carla, right? Especially when we're speaking to our students, we never want to leave a space having any blanket statements. Generally speaking, human beings have this need for companionship, and it is considered that, as we mature developmentally, then having a steady relationship, so to speak, steady depending on your own terms, is something that is considered to be the norm. And so we have even drunk in the Kool-Aid and started to even talk about it almost exclusively in that sense of, I'm choosing to be single until, while I prepare for, as opposed to I'm choosing to be single because I like my company, I like me, and therefore this is my personal choice. So every time I give talks like these, panelists, we hear a lot of people saying, oh, the people who love say this, but very few of us acknowledge that sometimes we're that person who asking somebody, Joby, when you're going to have a baby? Sevana, you're a big artist now. When you're going to have a child? But sometimes we are that person. And so one of the takeaways I want to share and encourage us to log on to this evening, as we're having this expansive convo, is let us re-examine how we jump into people's stories. Let us remember that these are all very deeply personal, individual choices, right? That people can make or not, and it's completely up to them. So we talk about those who love to watch people's wombs. The womb watchers. Lord Carla, look how you look nice and so. Our belly would have fit you. And they tell you all these things. It's really important for us not to be those people. You know what Beanie said? Do you really want to be that guy? Let us choose not to be that guy or that girl. Yeah. And let people make their choices in peace. Okay. I'm seeing the comment section being fabulously lit up. And Randy raised a very good point. Not everyone wants to be fruitful and multiply. We need to respect person's choices. And Randy says, sigh, and stop comparing. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Now I want to focus our convo now, especially in light of the first question in our Q&A, about the issues that can come up sometimes as we're reflecting on, reflecting in our singleness spaces. And I've heard several of you echo the fact that it isn't always pleasant, when you find that, I'm kind of selfish, or, I tend to be clingy, or I tend to be codependent, whatever it is that we discover, it's not pleasant. But let's talk through why it's important to discover these things and the overall importance of self-growth. Yeah, so I'm going to jump back to Carla to start off. Carla, why is this a thing? I mean, we can't just go through and just do the best we can. Why we have to be excellent and examining and introspecting on these things?
Oh my. Okay. So I'll tell you when my approach changed as an answer. I used to think, I do the best I can. And even now, I'm just doing the best I can. But I realized that when we look in our culture, we see a lot of miserable old women. And I'm saying it that way because a lot of you know the woman I'm talking about. It's the woman at church that none of the other younger women like because she's bitter and she always have a comment about your frock and she always have a comment about your outfit and she always wants to urge you towards the backbench and shame you because of what you're doing, right? It's these women who, and I mean, it happens with the men, but it happens differently. There's this women, there's a hardness, a toughness, and a bitterness that comes over them. And a lot of times when I look at it, I'm like, that grandmother-grandchild relationships could be so much sweeter if these women had actually devoted some time to healing as they went through life. As women, as Black women, as women coming from a developing country, life is going to kick you several times. It's like going to kick out your teeth. You're going to land on the ground and you're going to have to bounce back. Every time you drop, you sustain damage. And the only way that you can fix that damage is if you deliberately heal. But a lot of times we're so busy getting on with the business of life that we don't attend to that wound. And over time, it adds up. You're in pain. And when you can't deal with the pain on the inside, you start to put it onto people on the outside. And I didn't want to be that woman. I wanted to be one of those women. Thank you, Sevana. I wanted to be one of those women who could say, every year my life feels better. Every year I feel better inside of my life. Every year I feel happier. I feel more whole. I feel more at peace inside of my life. And I recognize that I could have an amazing experience being alive. I could have a beautiful feeling life. I could have a magnificent, excellent life if I decided I wanted that. And if I devoted even a morsel of my attention to having that, because everywhere else in my life, I put energy, something grew. You want a bottom, you do squats. You want long hair, you go put in a weave or you grow locks, you do what you need to do, you spray the rice water. So if I want to feel good in my life, then I have to devote some energy to feeling good in my life. And so I decided that you have to heal. You have to heal the things that happen to you. Thank you, Noran. You have to heal the things that happen to you. Every time something lick you, you have to stop and actually say to yourself, what happened? We're hurt. The finger, you're already starting to accommodate. You're starting to walk on the other foot. Right? You're not stop walking. You're just putting the pressure on that foot. That foot's going to wear out. And I don't want to be that person spiritually and emotionally worn out. And so I had to stop and devote my energy to having my best feeling life.
I love it. And Carla, the amount of support in the comment section for your strong words right now. I'm seeing Marie just highlighting the fact that there are some miserable young women also, right? So again, we're not using any blanket terms. We're not saying all, we're not saying every, but we do know some women like that. Yeah, Crystal said, preach, Carla, preach. All right. I'm jumping right over to Noran, and then we have a Q&A and a giveaway situation coming up. But Noran, please drop it.
All right. I wanted to add to what Carla was saying. Negativity is actually addictive to some people. Whether intentionally or not, they hold on to the negativity because that's one of the few things they can actually control in their lives. So they hold on to it. Sometimes it becomes a pity party, which it has its place, but there are times when people extend it because that's the only thing that they can properly control.
Yes.
So they have to realize that they're actually addicted to the negativity and consciously choose to step away from that. And it's not easy because the word victim mentality might sound very harsh, but I'm not trying to be harsh with it. But that's kind of what it is. It's kind of woe is me, and you're kind of taking on all the negativity, but you're not releasing it at the same time. So every time something comes up, it slams against this wall of negativity that we actually continue to fortify, and we don't realize we're doing it until somebody points it out, and then we might get upset because we feel it's not true. But you have to be able to have that introspection and say, yeah, maybe I'm holding on to this negativity because being happy is a choice. It's not an easy choice sometimes.
Yes, I love that. Being happy is a choice. And I want to see, I don't know if you agree with me, Noran, but I also want to add that being well, being content are also choices that we make.
Yes.
Health,
yes.
Emotional health.
The grass is always greener. Situation is hard. We grew up kind of thinking that. So what you see as a great relationship over there and relationship goals, you don't know what's behind that curtain. And you shouldn't even try to be looking behind that curtain. Look at your own curtain.
Yes, sir.
But it's our natural instinct to see and desire, but look at your own curtain.
Yes, I see the tambourines going off in the panelist section, right? We have to give away something because it's JN and JN cares, hashtag JN cares. So we're giving you something because we care over here, all right? So for those of you who have Digicel devices, we have a little something for you. You have the chance right now to take out your phone if you're not live streaming from it, hopefully, right? Take out your mobile device, and I'm gonna give you the magic numbers to unlock 1,000 Jamaican dollars worth of credit for your phone. You can do data plan. You can come back to live class next week. If it don't expire, just use it in a wise way, okay? Use it for your wellness. So are we ready? Can we just have a raised hand to see if we're ready? Ready, steady, go. All right, only 2 people ready. 4, 5, 6, 8. Okay, good.
Oh, it's for us. It's for us.
Noran. Nobody that can
just checking. Just checking.
The panelists are not eligible.
Just checking.
All right. So here we go. 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 7, 5, 4, 8, 5, 0, 9, 0. I hope somebody got it. Please drop it in the comment if you did. Somebody asked me if it's postpaid. I'm sorry. This is prepaid. So sorry. Did anybody get it? Should I go again one more time? Panelists, was that too fast? Maybe? It was fine? Tamara, you got it? Say yes. Tamara says, I got it. Let's give Tamara a big hand clap. You go, Tamara. Congratulations. That is your little something something from the JN group. And I'm so excited to be a part of this that is giving. I love to give things, right? So congratulations, Tamara. And so, see the people showing her love in the comments. I love it. Congratulations. So we're seeing Tamara next week, guys, obviously. Got Tamara phone load up now and she have it like that, okay? The first term in our topic for tonight is self-love. And I'm so curious to hear the different journeys that each of us has been on in terms of the self-love journey. And I'm very intentional about saying things like journey, because I don't believe that we ever truly reach a destination and we're all good, right? So the lovely Sevana, I'm coming straight into your office. Give us your thoughts on what self-love looks like and maybe what it doesn't look like. And I've had people ask me, and it kind of took me, I kind of felt taken aback when people ask me, how do you self-love? How do you love yourself? How do you grow that practice? So that's my question for Sevana, and then I'm going to jump over to Joby.
That's an important question to ask ourselves, and I appreciate you asking me that as well. What self-love looks like to me, especially now, because I've been tried. What it looks like is, honestly, I write a lot. I write my feelings down as far as, this is how I reacted to something. It's my go-to. It's something I've been practicing since I was a little girl because I didn't really have people to talk to. So I'd always turn to writing. And what I do lean on heavily now in my adult life is writing down exactly how I felt about a thing first. So it's kind of like I acknowledge my feelings to myself and that they're valid, they're there, right? And then after that, I start to maybe think about like where it would be coming from. Why did this thing trigger me so much? Why did I feel the need to not respond or respond? How am I being motivated, or how did I let things get to the place that they were? So a lot of examining of myself, I do that on a daily basis. I do that also through meditating. I like to just sit down and just have some, some nice mellow sounds in the background. Right now I'm listening to sound bowls, and I just sit down and I try to really just focus on my breath. And what that usually does is it gives me a clearer mind. It gives me a more peaceful spirit too. And it makes me feel a little bit more prepared to even go into the self-examination. And also I pray, I divulge all of my deepest, darkest secrets to my creator. And that's what it looks like for me. I also sing. I wake up in the middle of the night if I'm too anxious, and I dance by myself, half naked in the mirror. I do whatever I need to do to get it done in a healthy way, not in a way that would abuse anyone or myself. But those are right now my methods. That's what self-love looks like to me. To add, also, self-love also looks like having people who are able to hear you without judgment, without projecting their issues, onto your situation.
Wow.
And having thoughtful people, investing in thoughtful people. I've recognized, just even my friendships, that I would pour a lot into people and then not necessarily get it back. So you have to be mindful of reciprocity. You cannot just be drained all the time. You want to be poured into as well. So that's what self-love looks like for me right now.
You see how JN Circle have high quality thinkers in the space? I'm loving these. These are so on point. Joby J, I see you snapping over there, coming right into your office now. Talk to me, Joby. What does self-love look like to you? And is there a particular journey that you've been on as it relates to whether shrugging off negative, things that people try to pour on you? Where are you at in the journey? And what words of encouragement, would you drop in for a young, beautiful woman who is on that journey or just starting that journey now?
Okay. I agree with a lot of the things Sevana said. Probably almost everything she said are a lot of stuff that I can relate to, as well as what in terms of what I do. But for me, what self-love has been for me is freeing myself of everyone's expectations of what I should be and how I should look and how I should behave. And, you know, that has been the biggest thing for me. It was a struggle, you know, but that has been the biggest thing for me. Putting how I feel first in terms of what do I want to be for myself? How do I want to present myself to the world? You know, and not to stress myself about how everyone else will feel about that because it probably does not fit their narrative. For me, self-love has also been learning to say no, you know, because I can be a very yes person, and I am a very yes person because I like when people are pleased and I like when people are happy. That's just a part of me. So I've had to learn to say no when it is that I know that probably I'm doing too much and I just need a little time. Um, Self-love for me has also been introspection, a lot of introspection. Just looking inside myself and sometimes trying to look at myself from the outside, you know, kind of like coming out of my direct feelings and looking at my situation as well. And as Sevana said, something very important is, you know, surrounding yourself with people who can help you, people who can uplift you, people who can encourage you, even without them giving an encouraging word, just by them existing and, you know, living their truth, it can really inspire you. And another thing for me is definitely spirituality. That's very big for me. I have to talk to God. I have to make sure that my relationship with God is where it should be. And I mean, that's something that can move, you know, but praying is something that really helps me, especially in this COVID time. Listen, praying has definitely been helping me to stay calm. You know, as Sevana said, you know, just telling God how I feel as it is. Not in a fancy way, but just like talking to him like I would talk to a friend. And I feel like that has been giving me peace. But yeah, I feel like self-love is just really remembering yourself above everyone else. And that probably sounds selfish, but that's very important because sometimes we put everyone else above us, and then we start to feel heavy and we start to feel stressed and we don't understand why. But it's because we don't take the time out to ask ourselves, how do we feel about something? And just to, you know, just to love on ourselves and be kind with ourselves and be patient with ourselves and not to be too hard on ourselves, which is something I am learning because I can be very hard on myself. So yeah, that's what self-love looks like for me. Yeah.
Thank you. Listen, Joby, you're firing on all cylinders. The panel is so aced right now. I'm so proud. Right? Noran, I'm coming right over to you now, sir. Men and self-love, is that a thing?
Ma'am.
Is that enough of
Yes, it is a thing. No, it is a thing. And for me personally, self-love, there are a few bullet points that I've grown up with because of how my parents raised me. One is manage your expectations. There are some things that are not of you to do, some things that are not your place to do. There are some people who you may not be what you think of in their life. So you have to start with yourself. Manage your expectations. Self-love is also recognizing that we're flesh and blood. We may not all be on the same level, but deep down we're all the same. So respect is something that has to be a part of your daily routine. Respect for yourself and respect for others. And if it's someone that you don't get along with, then have enough respect to say, thank you, have a good day. Take yourself out of that situation, knowing when to escape certain situations and when to jump into certain situations. That's self-love. We have to recognize that we are wonderful human beings, but we can't become too haughty with our self-love. It's very, very easy for us to say, oh, I love myself so much that I don't think I need to do this, or I don't think I need to be this way with this person. And it can get away from you if you're not careful. So that's where you come back into managing your expectations, knowing yourself and being okay with who you are. Easier said than done, but it is the most important thing for self-love. Being okay with who you are. If you want to be different, change. But if you realize that this is how you are, then work with that.
Excellent, sir. I love it. We have so many questions coming in because if you remember from the poll question, one of them was, what you want to take away from the session. And many people said they want really expert relationship advice. And we have a couple of those in the comments that I'm going to bring up right now. However, I just want to touch into our audience family and just see what they have been saying in here. Hi, Olivine. She was a winner last week. Big up yourself. Marie says self-love is acceptance of your whole, it ran away from you. Was it your whole being, you said, Marie? And I'm seeing a lot of amens. And Steve is doing a great job of just documenting some of the gems that we have been dropped in here so we can find them easily. Julie says you have to love yourself to recognize true love from others. And I love that point, Julie, because you know, a part of why I'm passionate about spaces like these, and if you follow me on Instagram or in any space, you'll see me post a lot about self-love and about intentional relationshiping, right? For want of a better term. And the reason I do it is because I came across this quote which inspired me. And the quote said, so many years of schooling, yet no one taught us how to love or be loved. And yet we have all these campaigns now telling us that, you know, attitudes and values campaigns and so on. But the nitty gritty of how do we love and how do we receive love in a healthy way is something that I think is grossly missing from our curricula and from the conversations from we are yay high. Yeah. And for me too, the relationship, I don't talk about relationships because it's glamorous and it's sexy. I talk about relationships a lot because out of relationships come so many other things. Relationships affect our self, our wellness, our emotional and psychological well-being. Yes. Relationships now give rise to, you know, children sometimes coming out of those unions. And what are we teaching the children? What do they learn out of those spaces is also important. So we're going to segue now into the a Q&A, right? One of the questions from our panelists. And I'm going to let the expert panelists, right, jump in and just start the thing. So the first one was from Christine. Sharmika says, I've been single for years. Where are the good men and how do I trust them? Where are they hiding? Where are they keeping? Where are they at? And how do we find onto them? Find ourselves in their spaces, ladies? That's a question. If I had the answer to that like specifically, I would be a wealthy person right now, wealthy relationship coach. But it's not that simple in my estimation, right? There are several factors to it, and I'd love to hear, you know, the views of our panelists as it relates to that. So because Noran is the single king among us, among the queens, Noran, we're on the day, right? We're in a congregate
right. Okay, first of all, ladies, ask yourself if you actually, what is your definition of a good man? Because one person's good is not necessarily everybody else is good. So that's number one. Two,
yes,
he's not going to come into your living room. And if you only go to work, then church, then work, then church, then gym, then work, then church, there's a strong possibility you're not going to find him there. So you have to be willing to come out of your particular circles. Also, and this is going to sound a little controversial, but aim properly.
Say again, aim properly?
Aim properly. Just because you like him doesn't mean that he's going to like you back. If you are the young lady that likes the hotshot outer road fellow, but you are more kind of a church mouse, and you shoot your shot at him and it doesn't work, then it's not a case of, oh, he's not a good man. Maybe he's just not for you. Figure out what works for you and aim properly.
Yes, please. Joby, I see your hand up, so I'm coming straight over to you, sis. Turn your microphone on, yeah.
Okay. The lady was asking where are the good men. I hear a lot of people say that the good man them done, are them done off, are the good man them married, or something like that. I still believe that there are good men, and I feel like there are. I don't think there's a shortage. I just think that there has been what should I say now? Okay. I feel like, you know, a lot of women have had very negative experiences with men, and people speak from their experiences. So sometimes you can't really bash somebody if they're telling you their experience, because how they feel about a certain thing is going to be affected by their experience. But what I really want to say is I feel like sometimes we have to, if it is that you're at a place where you're trying to find someone, I feel like we have to free our minds of the idea that good men are finished or they're non-existent. Because if you have that idea, how are you going to attract, a good man if in your head they're non-existent? That makes no sense. I agree with what Noran said, as in when he said aim properly. I feel like it is very important to know what it is that you're looking for so that you can aim properly, so you can put yourself in the right places to meet the right type of people, but I feel like as no yes, I remember what I wanted to say now. Carla, you posted a video the other day, and I'm always watching Carla's videos because she's always dropping gems. You said the other day in a video that there's no perfect lover, there's no perfect partner. Yeah. And I think that's also something that we also have to remember, that we really have to think about what it is that we want. We have to think about what our expectations are, and we have to try to figure out if our expectations are unrealistic. Not saying that you shouldn't have your standards and you shouldn't have, those things that are important to you, but it's very important that we don't have this idea of perfection and this idea of somebody, as we said earlier, who's going to come and going to make everything okay and sweep you off your feet and you're going to be happy all of a sudden. So I think it's very important for us to be realistic with ourselves and to just be realistic in general, and to just put ourselves in a place where we don't have so much expectations, so that we're not, easily disappointed. Yeah, I hope I'm making sense.
Oh, absolutely. More than sense. We have, listen, the comments are coming in rapid fire, and they're bringing up so many textured elements of our convo. So before I jump to Carla and Sevana, Shafe is in our comment section and in our Q&A, and Shafe says, my friend has been single for more than 3 years. In brackets, Shafe says, myself too. And she's a great person, always working on herself and knows what she wants, etc., but hasn't met anyone since then who she's compatible with. She was told never to say that to a man, meaning the length of time, I think, for which she has been single, because they're going to wonder what's wrong with her. What are your thoughts? Carla Moore, down your avenue.
Down my avenue, let me lower my hand. So to speak to what Joby said, and actually what Noran said a little bit before I get there, I think, you see, when you're EM, understand what is the thing you're searching for. You are a church mouse and you want one of the outer road man. Why? Because you want excitement in your life. Sis, go and find a way to put excitement in your life. Go and ride an ATV, go bungee jumping, go do what you need to do, and stop trying to date your adventure, honey. That's not your job. Okay? A lot of times we're out here shooting our shots at people, hoping they'll give us things that we cannot provide for ourselves. Well, then now you become dependent on them and you start to strangle them. And in reality, you are not compatible. You are trying to date the person you should become. You don't want them, you want to be them. No, get it clear. You know why you want the outer road man? The other thing is, I saw Shafe's question and I was like, sis, okay, here's the thing. I don't believe in playing games. It might be one of the things that sets me apart from some people. Some people will give you the impression that with men, you always have to play the game. With men, you gotta show them what they like to let them know they like it and all of that. Me not have time for that. I don't have the ovarian fortitude. I don't have the energy. My memory not even that good for remember what I did show you last week. I can only give you the truth. If you start off with game playing, how will you actually know that this man wants you? Because your truth is, this is how long you have been single for. So the man that should be with you, the man that deserves you, the man that understands you, the man that is compatible with you, can understand the purpose behind that singledom. If what you start off giving him is a version of yourself, then you are already dishonest with him. And he is not the problem in the relationship. You are, because you didn't trust him with your truth. Now, your truth actually becomes a tool for you to weed out the people who are not worthy of you. The difficult truth about you is a tool that is given to you to weed out the people who are not compatible with you, because if they cannot handle the truth about you, they are not for you. And that's just that. Sometimes you have a complicated history. It only means that you are being refined and put aside for something that's even more special. Don't feel like you have to tell no lie upon yourself to get no man, because you're not going to want a man that you had to lie to get.
Miss Carla Moore has spoken the words that has the comment section saying things like, yes, the ugly yes. And Shafe, who asked the question, has put several exclamation points, so we know that you have hit the question out of the park, okay? Hit the answer. I see Noran smiling, I see Sevana hand up, so I'm coming straight over to Sevana now.
Oh, actually, I think Carla said everything. I think the only thing I'd add, and it's a piggyback, is purely that, when you are looking for someone, be careful that you're not looking for the excitement, as she says. We tend to glorify a kind of a passionate love, the one that we see on TV, the one where it's like, I saw him and I knew he was the one and he's meant for me. Like, a lot of times that's not necessarily a healthy thing. You look for the people, as Carla says, will respond to the honest you. And then if you repel them, then it's not meant to be. But don't think, oh, it needs to be passionate, it needs to be far away, we need to be arguing all the time, because that's not what a healthy relationship looks like. So be careful that you're not glorifying a fantasy version of the relationship that we've been shown most of our lives.
Mm-hmm. I love it. Joby has a point, but I'm going to actually ask one of our audience members. Let me take Joby first, and then we'll ask somebody to come on microphone and speak to our panel and give them one of their questions. So Joby, I see your hand up. You wanted to say something?
Okay. I agree with everything that everyone has been saying, especially Carla. You be dropping them gems, girl. You be dropping them gems. But for me, I haven't been in that much relationships. I'm not married. I've never been married. But in terms of relationships before you get to that point, I haven't been in that much. But I find that for me, I've been in the best relationships when I really wasn't looking. Like, I never did a look. I never did a say, oh, I want a man or something like that. But it's just when I just I live my life. I love myself and I do what I do. And then I just happen to meet somebody who I click with and it works. So I feel like sometimes the reason why we probably don't find that person yet, or feel like we're not finding the person, is because we're putting way too much energy into it. We're putting way too much, stress and pressure. Sometimes we just need to, just chill, pray about it. If that's what you believe in, leave it to God and just, chill.
And live your best life. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going to invite Althea. Althea asked a question that I want to hear some more about. So if we could just pull up a chair for Althea in the live class and offer her a microphone real quick. Althea says, I have been single for some years now, but it's hard to let go of the single life. Why is this so? And I personally want some clarity on what Althea means. So if it is that you are able to come on, Althea, are you here? We would be more than happy to offer you not only a comfortable chair, but a microphone to speak onto us so we can, tease it out some more. While we're doing that, I saw some comments now, lovely panel. Randy says, some women got the perfect man, and the comments are moving so fast. Let me hold it down. Let me see. Randy says, some women got the perfect man and turned him down because she wasn't expecting him to come in that package. And he says, and Randy says, stop it, ladies. I think it was also the same Randy as Noran giving us the, he's onto something there.
Randy was not wrong. It's not a general statement, but Randy's not wrong. I'm sure if a lot of women were honest with themselves, there were times when the guy who they actually want, in terms of their bullet points, he's probably in their circle, but because his package does not attract them, maybe he doesn't look the way they want, maybe he doesn't have the general state that they're looking for, and to each their own. But some of those women will always say that no good men not around, this and that and that. But sometimes he's right in front of you, but he's just not on your radar because he just doesn't do it for you. We're animals at the end of the day. So let's not pretend that it's all mental stimulation. No, sometimes you want your body to react to somebody. And if somebody does not bring that out of you, then they could be the greatest person in the world. It's just not going to work.
You may not be looking in that direction, just generally.
But at least be honest enough with yourself to say, yeah, well, I want something that makes me excited. I want the skin catch a fire. If that's what you want, that's what you want. Then admit to it. Some of these nice guys that you're looking for are in front of you.
Yes. I see Danny asking the questions in the comments, but we're going to put Danny on pause a little bit because we have the lovely Althea. We have Althea now for the microphone to give us some more clarity on her question so we can, tease out some of the answers. Althea, welcome.
Hi. Good evening. So for me, I've been single for a good time now, and trying to venture into relationships is like the hardest thing ever. I get so comfortable with being in my own space, doing my own thing, enjoying my own company. It's like for a person to come in, the expectation is like, if they're not pleasing me to an extent, I'm just unhappy and I get easily annoyed by it. I just get that feeling that I don't want this, and I just shut them off completely. So I don't know why, but I think I'm too comfortable in this zone right now, really too comfortable, and I'm enjoying it.
Okay. My question to you, Althea, before I jump over to Noran, whose hand went up immediately, is: are you bothered, in any way? Are you affected by the fact that you're comfortable in your singleness?
I have been thinking about that lately. Why? No, I am not. I'm here. I'm here. You hearing me?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
You're hearing me?
Clear.
Yes, we're hearing you.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So I'm saying I've been thinking about that lately, like why I am so comfortable. I'm not really much bothered, but it's a question that I've been asking myself, and I just don't know why.
All right. So Noran, let's jump over to you.
All right. So Althea, good evening. Thank you for joining. Now, what I'm going to say, I'm not trying to be insulting, but it's a very simple thing with human beings that I think we overthink. Althea, if you wanted to be with somebody, you would. The fact that you're not means you don't want to.
True.
If you can say so honestly that you like being in your space, you like things your way. Some people might call it spoiled. I'm not going to use the word spoiled. You are so comfortable in what you have, you don't want to extend it outwards, but yet you want the full end package result of being in a relationship. So at some point in time, you're going to have to switch something. You're going to have to lessen one side or increase one side, but understand that what you're doing is you want to be single. Sorry, you want a relationship, but you want to live singly. They can't coexist as much as you might try. You can't be a bachelor in a relationship. You can't be a single woman if you're in a relationship, but you like the single life. You like the option to do what you want, when you want, if you want. But at the same time, if somebody does come along, you want them around for when you want them around. And once you're done, bye. Come out of my space.
I think you're very much right.
Yeah.
It's an honest life plan to have.
Yes.
Thank you for that, Noran, and thank you for being so open out there. I see Joby also has her hand up. I think she wants to contribute, so go ahead, Joby.
Yeah, so I listened to what you were saying. Hi, Althea. And the question that is in my head is it that you want to be in a relationship, or is it that you are trying relationships because you feel like that's what you're supposed to do? Because it sounds to me that you're very comfortable with just being single, and nothing is wrong with that. So I want to know if it is that, do you want a relationship, or are you doing it because probably you feel like you're supposed to, so you just give it a try?
Are you with us, Althea? Can you hear us?
Yes, I'm hearing. Yes. So a little part of me do want a relationship, but when I venture into it, I just switch. I don't know. As Noran said, I guess I'm selfish. Maybe.
I'm not selfish. I think you get bored easily.
Yeah, maybe.
Mhm.
So if I
Okay.
could just add something before Sevana and Carla weigh in, another couple of things to consider too, Althea, and this could be done, probably through journaling, just some introspection as the panelists have all been, sharing on the journey, could be, is it fair? Is it that you are creating, challenges? Is it that you're self-sabotaging? Is it because of the uncertainty? Is it because of past experiences too? It could be from a psychological place. It could be that, listen, it gets a little bit too intimate. I feel like, whoa, I need to back it up just to control it some more. So maybe it's a need for control that may be coming out of a deeper place of just, Noran is like spot on, coming from a place of, having had experiences in the past where you were not in control and where it really left some scars or so on. So now you are almost terrified, perhaps, of not being in a space where you control the narrative. And once another party comes into your space, then you are not the only person to consider. The other person's needs are important. And maybe it's just the dynamic of balancing all of that as it relates to fears and probably unhealed issues, that may be coming to the fore as well out there. Only you can answer the question, but I'm just putting it out there for you.
That was spot on, Kamala.
Thank
I've been
Yeah.
guilty of that myself.
Self-sabotage, we do it. Yeah. I saw Savannah's hand up. So Althea, while you're musing on that, let me hear what the lovely Savannah and then Carla have to share.
Actually, Kamala, you said it. I was going to ask her if she had any fears as to because once you start to engage in a relationship, you are going to be challenged. And some of these things might frighten you. And then also she said a thing about the person not making her happy. And I think that goes back to Carla's point about not looking for your happiness in someone else. So it sounds like there might be some things that still need filling up as far as her remaining single for a little bit longer. Yeah.
Thank you for that, Savannah. And Carla, I saw your hand up. Or was it Joby?
Yeah. No, it was me. I actually wanted to raise that perhaps what she actually wants to do is to date versus to get into a relationship. So it could be because I think Noran kind of mentioned it earlier that sometimes we want to have experiences with people, but we don't want to be in relationships with them, but we kind of frown on that in our culture. But sometimes what you want is, and I think I saw like Roxanne say it in the chat, you want the company. You want to share things with a person, and it's fine. You can share moments with a person, you can have experiences with a person with the understanding that I am not interested in turning this into a relationship. And the other thing I wonder is if in her time alone she has asked herself, how much space do I need when I'm in a relationship? Because when you're single, you have all of the space for yourself, but some of us need far more space in a relationship than we thought we did initially. And I think that's an important question that I've had to ask myself is, when I am with somebody, how much space do I actually need to retain for myself? And if I'm going to be with someone and it might make my search longer, I need room. Like when I saw that movie Frida and she and her husband had the separate houses joined by that little bridge, it did make sense. I was like, yes, you have your thing and me have my thing, and our love is the bridge. I need room for my, like sometimes it's not that drastic, but I think maybe she should, it might help you out there to give some thought to how much space allows you to feel safe and fulfilled, and like you are still attending to yourself while sharing space with somebody else.
Excellently said, every single one of you. Althea, we're leaving you with so much food for thought this evening that we're looking forward to having you back and for sharing what the journey has been like, yes? Is there anything else you'd like to say, clarify, respond to before we jump into the other section of just talking about setting standards?
Okay, so you heard me?
Yes, loud and
Yes.
clear.
So, Carla and Savannah, you actually hit the nail on the head. I'm guilty. I'm definitely guilty. When I guess when you put it out there and somebody else have an insight on it, it grabs you differently. You see it differently. So yes, I guess I do need some time, because giving somebody else the space, I think it shouldn't be so. So I guess I really need to get that little time to develop that part of me some more and to get over some fears that I do have. So yeah, you did all answer the question that I asked. You did.
Excellent.
Thank you very much.
Raise the roof for the panelists, everybody. Good job. And thank you, Althea, for being vulnerable and for being open to feedback as well. That's an amazing.
Daddy, when you pass, let me know, please. Coming up on a Zoom call, we just walk right past him and everybody see a half naked body.
Noran. Okay, so we had a comment from Sandra in the comment section. Sandra said, Miss Kamala, what is self-sabotaging? Just wanted a professional opinion. So quickly for Sandra, so sabotage is when you short circuit the chance of something succeeding. And sometimes we do it to ourselves. Sometimes I came across this, I love the social media wisdom that is shared, very freely. So I came across a meme, Carla, that said, be sure that you are not the weapon formed against yourself, right? That is preventing you from prospering. Because sometimes we have these whole heap of rebuking, the all kind of energy, spirit, cut and clear, right? We have cut lemon and lime every day. When we are the blockages, we are the ones who get opportunities. And because we don't feel fully ready, or we feel like, this opportunity is more than me, I'm not something enough, enough fit me, all these things I'm not deserving is what it really means. Sometimes we create, Noran, these mindsets, these ways that we show up that kind of undercut, the chance of the thing succeeding. And we do it in relationships too. And I want to go back now as we're starting this segment on setting standards, because we have to be clear what we want. What are we looking for? If we don't have a roadmap, we're just going to keep on going around in circles and repeating negative patterns. So we need to know what we need, what we want, what is ideal for us, what is not ideal for us is also important to know. So we can put that way off, right? And just let people know that, I'm sorry, like, boo, it's not you, right? So
we need to be very careful about realizing that what feels good isn't always good for you.
Thank you very much, sir.
And that applies to dealing with people. So and also impatience is a very big deterrent to successful relationship, because we're so impatient because maybe we've been alone for a long time. So all of a sudden, whatever first comes along, we're gone because we just want to feel good. So it's not easy. I'm not saying in any way, shape, or form that it's easy, but we have to be mindful that we're not creating things where they don't exist because we want to be with somebody. So that's a very important point.
Absolutely, fully agree. This next part we need to talk about very attentively is the part about setting standards, right? Because if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for anything at all. From it have on a skirt or a pants or whatever look it is, we're going to be saying, oh, well, maybe it can work. And I love where Joby started us off, just reminding us that it's so important, right, for us to be clear. What do we deserve? It's also so important for us to know what it is that best serves us. Where are we in our journey? Not everything fits, okay? Not everybody is for us. And I think Noran said it earlier too, that not because somebody is a good man or a good woman means that they are your good man or your good woman. It's also important to know where you're going and realize that not everybody can go with you to that place. And not everybody's something. It shouldn't be everybody's something, right? So it's important to be clear on these things. And I also want to make it clear that as a therapist in particular, I'm very, very clear on the fact that people will make different choices. So monogamy is not for everybody. Some people can choose to be polyamorous, but I just want to challenge anybody tonight who is saying, well, the side chick or the side piece, the side man thing is for me. Just to be clear what it is that it is and how it is different from polyamory. Because polyamory, for example, is understanding fully that everybody is on the same page, everybody sign on to it. There is no deception, there is no cheating in a truly polyamorous relationship. So the side man, side chick term is now about when your partner don't know that you're doing street, you're doing road on them. And that is where it can become problematic, So it's important for us to know, first of all, what do we want? And I actually advocate for people writing it down, put it on paper somewhere where you can see it, put it on your phone. What do you want in a relationship? And so I'd love to hear more from our panelists about some of the standards that you think perhaps other people can adopt, that we can all consider making our own in terms of what we're looking for in a relationship. Carla, I'm going to jump to you.
So that's a really good question. And I mean, I'll come out and tell everybody know me talk about it openly. Me used to be a matey, right? It's not something that I hide because it was a part of my life. And I'm over the whole thing of shaming myself for the person that I used to be. It's not useful for a journey of self-love. And for me, self-love is actually just forgiveness. For me, it's very important that I have a partner who is committed to doing work on themselves. Like they're committed to doing self-work. They understand that who they are is, enough. They love themselves, but I don't want somebody who's constantly running from themselves. And I don't want somebody who is afraid to face themselves, because from my experience, it's the things that live in the shadow of yourself that you're not facing that have the most potential to hurt me. I have been more damaged by the shadowy parts of my partner than anything that could happen outside of my relationship. So courage, and especially courage when it comes on to facing yourself. Honesty, introspection, yes. Honesty is important for me. And here is one thing that I had to learn. Some of us love to date the person who is the jerk, but they're nice to us. Oh, they're kind of just rude and disgusting, but they're nice to me. They're nice to me. They treat me different. And then you feel special because they treat you different. Listen, honey, they're treating you different for as long as they have an interest in you. But the moment that interest wanes, then you will become just like everybody else. The only safe harbor, the only way to get through tough times in a relationship, and every relationship will have tough times, is to set up a relationship with somebody who is a decent person generally. So I am watching how you are treating people, and I am watching how you are treating people who have less than you. And for me, I don't think at this point I could be with somebody who didn't have some type of political consciousness. Like for me, I'm anti-oppression. Me a bonfire for everything. If you need a fire burn, I am there. I am there to chant down Babylon. Me cannot chant down Babylon and you appear by conflict diamond. That makes sense. Me over here chant down Babylon and you want to vote for Donald. No, the two cannot coexist. It can't work. So for me, my standards are you have to care. You have to care about the world that we live in. You have to be hopeful that the world can change. You have to be serious about being the best version of yourself. And you have to be a person who is courageous, because living as any type of human, if you want to have a quality life, it takes courage. You want a promotion, you have to be courageous enough to apply. You want to be the type of person you think I deserve, you have to be courageous enough to change. You want me to become a better woman, you have to be courageous enough to tell me, Carla, this is where you are going wrong. And I am extremely strong, and speaking to me can be terrifying. So if you are not courageous, then you will not be able to help me, because the dragon is going to scare you up. Now, I'm working on the dragon thing. I'm working on it.
You
have to be honest about who you are and where you are, right? And so, one of the most hurtful things I've done in my life is to date people who are not courageous enough to face themselves, and I refuse to do it ever again. But it was a reflection of me. I was not courageous enough to face myself, and they were a mirror, and I see it.
Carla, on that point right there, so I'm going to do another giveaway, right? Because we're all about sharing and caring this evening. And I'm going to pick up on that point and then just jump over to Joby J, right? So for all the people now who are on the other network, the Flow network, it's your time. Yeah? And remember, Noran, Joby, Sevana, and Carla, it's not for Uno, okay? It's for everybody else, all right? Can I see by show of hands in the comments, are we ready for the Flow giveaway? Just raise your hands. Yes. Okay, so 4 people ready. 5, okay. All right, so the Flow voucher number to unlock $1,000 of credit is 937-149-6562-1766. And just scream out in the chat if it is that you are the lucky person. Sandra said she wasn't ready. I'm so sorry, Sandra. Anybody get it? Not yet? All right, let me go one more time. Ready again? Sandra, you ready this time? Yay, Millicent got it! Congratulations, Millicent. Please enjoy your $1,000 credit from the JN Group. From all of us here at the JN family, congrats. Thank you for logging on, and that's what you get for being a part of this awesome movement, right? So come back, you might win some more next week, okay? Carla, that bomb situation now that you just dropped a while ago, as it relates to the mirrors that relationships really are. Because too many of us love to point the fingers and say, the wicked man and the wicked woman them, the demon woman them, right? Who causing the stress in my life? But Noran laughing. And it's so true that relationships and how we show up to every kind of relationship, they're really reflections of the inner work that we have or have not done. And everybody, I think it was Joby and Sevana earlier who so expertly referenced the issue of setting standards and boundaries, right? Because out of an understanding of what you deserve and what you do not deserve. So I'm going to jump to, I said Joby J, right? Joby J, what are your thoughts on what Carla shared? And are there any standards that you hold up, as dear to your heart in terms of moving, considering, entering a relationship space?
Okay, can you ask the question again, please? Sorry, my mind kind of.
So I'm saying that, Carla talked about, the fact that she regrets having showed up in relationship spaces, in spaces where her partner didn't have enough courage, enough courage to be a part of her journey. And she also dropped a truth bomb about the fact that relationships are really mirrors. They show us what's going on with us, why we choose these people. So I want to get your thoughts on that. And if you particularly have any particular standards that you hold on to as being non-negotiables in your relationship spaces.
Okay. I definitely agree with Carla in terms of relationships can definitely show us a lot about ourselves. Something that I really want to speak on is being honest in terms of, especially when it is time for us to, or the time comes for us to meet a partner, or it is that we're looking for a partner. It's very important for us to be honest. And I feel like sometimes different persons can be, going around, going through life with a lot of unpopular opinions, and sometimes we don't agree with a lot of social standards. Sometimes we don't agree with a lot of gender roles that we've been socialized to believe that is very normal. And I feel like sometimes when we're not honest with ourselves about how we feel about those different things, it can cause problems in terms of relationships. As you were saying, Kamala, if it is that you don't want to have one partner, don't be going around and giving people the idea that you want to just be with one person if you know that's not what you want, and if you know that's not what you can do. Be honest. If it is that you meet somebody and you like somebody and you know that you're not a one woman guy, or you're not a one man girl, say so. We really need to get to the point where we really be very honest with the persons that we are, finding interest in, because that can prevent so much issues when it comes to, going deep or get intimacy and all of those things. We really need to be honest. Sometimes it's hard because having unpopular opinions can leave you in a space where people are ready to attack you and tell you that that's not right and whatever. But how you feel is how you feel, and that is your right to feel how you feel. So if it is unpopular and if it is not what is socially accepted, it is just what it is, and it is just for you to be honest with yourself. And and I feel like when you're honest with yourself, you will eventually find people who, they probably share some of those unpopular opinions, and they probably, are just like, you know what, I feel the same way, and that's fine for me. So I feel like that's something that's very important, that we really need to be honest about what it is that we want, what it is that we don't want. And if it is that you're at a place where you're not sure what you want, that's fine as well. And I feel like we also need to be comfortable with saying, you know what, I'm not really sure, so I don't want to give you a definite answer. And then we have to leave it up to that person if it is that they're going to work with it or they're not going to work with it. And I know it's easier said than done, because I feel like human nature, we want to be accepted and we want to be loved, but sometimes if it is that that person is not able to work with what we want, we just have to let it go. I also wanted to talk about, in terms of standards. I feel like sometimes we can find ourselves in situations where we know we're not being fulfilled. We know we're not being treated right. We know we're not happy, but we stay, or we try to fix it a million times, or we try to think about all the reasons why it can work or why it should work, not because it should, but because we're comfortable, because we become comfortable. I feel like it's a thing for us as humans. When we find comfort, we sit there and we set up shop, build house, garden, picket fence, everything. Yes. And we know say it not good, you know. We know say it not good, we know say it not serve we, but we've become comfortable. So the thought of moving, the thought of uprooting scares us. And I feel like that's something that we do, and we continue to do. And I think it's something that a lot of people struggle with. It's hard, you know, when you're really in one place where you don't know, I'm there with that person here for 5 years, 10 years, but we know we're not happy, and the only reason we stay is because we're comfortable and because we're afraid of change. So
Yes,
that's what I wanted to
that's
say.
it right there, Joby. Thank you. I'm going to just share this point just to pick up on something I believe it was Carla who said, and then I'm going to bring in Sevana and Noran. I think Joby said it. Joby mentioned honesty upfront. Give people the chance to make their own choices, right? Do not make choices for other people. And especially because a lot of women come to me for my relationship coaching services, sometimes I get the bashing, you know, or at least the he does, he doesn't do kind of a thing. And so I'm very balanced, I'm very careful, I'm very intentional about asking, okay, and as Carla mentioned, how did you show up? You know, did you make any choices in this situation? Because the reason I'm raising this now is because sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, what happens is that sometimes the man tell you, whether with him words or him actions, when deaf on or when don't deaf on. But sometimes because of our passion and our deep desire to have our needs met by any means necessary, we decide that we have the goods, whether the goods or we have the goods, right? To change him, to fix him, to refine him, to tame him, you know, it's not to calm him down, take him off the streets and make him nice and gentlemanly. But the gentleman had already said unto you that I'm not about that life. And if he didn't have the words or the vocabulary to say that, many times his hesitation, right? Or his blatant action, you can't find him on Valentine's Day until the weekend gone, and all these hint kind of, you know, signs, he's telling you something. But sometimes we are not ready to face it because we need somebody to blame other than ourselves for the choices that we are making. So it's deflection 101. And Noran is clapping, so we have to jump over to Noran. Daniel says facts. Somebody said this convo is too juicy. Noran, please speak on that.
You hit the nail on the head right there. Personal responsibility is the most important thing you need when you're looking for or when you're in a relationship. If you don't have the ability to self-check, to properly check yourself, if you think that you are always in the right because of how you feel, then you should not be in a relationship. Because it means that you have given no credence to the other person and the fact that the other person is an individual that came in feeling a certain way about certain things. But if you decide that what you want to do is bully and bulldoze them, it's not going to work. And both men and women are guilty of it. The other thing that you need is people don't just speak with their mouth. So therefore, you can't just listen with your ears. Listen with your eyes. Non-action is just as bad as action sometimes. As human beings, if there's something we want to do, there's no force on this planet that can stop us from doing it. So if we're not doing it, guess what? Maybe we don't want to. But it's hard to accept that, especially when you're dealing with another human being's emotions or feelings. It's not easy, but you have to be able to listen to what the person is saying and what they're not saying. The problem with that is sometimes it makes you paranoid. Sometimes you might start seeing things where things aren't. So it's a balance act. It's not easy, but still you need personal responsibility. If you believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread, then you and I are not going to have a successful relationship because you will never be the be all end all of somebody else's life. They might love you to death. It doesn't mean that you are the greatest love of their life. But if you're not okay with that feeling, if you would need to feel that you must be worshipped, whether as a man or the woman, then you already started wrong. That's how somebody put up something about intuition versus paranoia. Sometimes they look the same. So as human beings, we need to just be honest with ourselves. But honesty, as somebody said earlier, is not easy all the time. But open your eyes, open your ears, talk, actually speak.
It takes building that muscle, consistently.
It is a muscle. It is a muscle.
Yeah, thank you for that, Noran. So many truths in every single thing that you guys have been sharing from start to now, right? Sevana, your song name, one of the songs them where you do name Nobody Man.
Yes.
And you are very clear in that song, in the lyrics, as to what your standards are, right? And it's based on what you consider your self-worth to be, what your heart and your soul are worth, why it is that you put up certain, certain standards. Can you share any other standards, or just give voice to what you think are good baselines for people to even start the conversation of getting into a coupleship?
Absolutely, thank you. I agree with what everybody has shared so far, and I was kind of just making some notes as far as what would I add that's not me repeating what everyone said. And it is in line with what everyone said, but more so I was thinking about setting your expectations, but not even just setting them, but declaring them, telling the other person what it is that you would like them to give to you. Because a lot of the times, especially in the beginning of the relationship or the connection that you guys have, it's easy for them to give the best. Maybe he wrote you a poem that make your heart flutter, and then it's the only poem you ever get in another 5 months. So it's important that if the relationship starts off at a certain standard where you both were kind of just on the same page, that it's a constant revisiting, not to the point where it gets tiresome, because it's not like you don't want to become nagging. You don't want to every week get asked, so how you feel about this, I know you feel about that. But a relationship, the two people in it will not stay the same over time. So it's important to revisit, like, where are you now? Where are we now? Is this something that you're still interested in doing? And that also lends into accountability. It has to be somebody that I can hold accountable. It has to be somebody that you can hold accountable. It's not a rigid scenario. It cannot be a rigid scenario where, I enter the relationship and I say, well, I'm going to pan tour for 6 months, and you just not go see me. I'm going to know what I'm going to do. You have to just deal with it. You want somebody who is thoughtful and kind and considering you, and you have to be willing to give that back as well. And yeah, I'm not nobody, man. If you have somebody already and you're trying to sneak me in on the side, I'm not interested in that.
100%, sis. And one of the things that I love about Sevana's song, like my favorite line is when she said, "Welcome to the regal love," as if regal love not keep again. Like, what is it only about just having somebody for having somebody's sake, And I think it also goes down to a standard I want to add into the convo, which is, for me personally, as Kamala McWhinney, one of my standards in relationships is you have to be building something, because I'm here building something on purpose based on my understanding of why I'm in the earth. So I need for you to be building something too. And ideally, I don't want you to just be starting after our first conversation. I want to meet you on a journey of building out your purpose, of manifesting what you're here for. So a certain clarity of self, a certain sense of why am I here, and manifesting something to make humanity better. And that might look like it might be a part of your career, it might be something on the side, but building something is important to me, yeah? And so out of that now, I think another standard we can throw into the mix, which I think is very healthy, is that for a relationship to succeed, the couples, the two people need to be open to creating a unified vision of love. It can't just be about the physicality and the good body and the strong cologne and so. It has to be about, okay, when the novelty of that wears off, when Carla is cracking up, when the novelty of that wears off, and if we live together and we're taking out the garbage, that's not sexy, that's mundane, paying bills is not sexy, but we're going to have to do it in a way where both of us are doing, our piece, and I can hold you lovingly accountable. We can communicate on unsexy topics as well as sexy topics. So somebody who is open to building something with me, something with you, and building something for themselves is also, I think, an important standard. If you guys agree in the comments, just raise your hands and let us know where you're at, right? We're about to segue in a couple of minutes into our next segment, which is going to be musical. But I still have a couple of answers, a couple of questions in the comments. And let me see which one. I think I'd like to bring somebody on micro. What do you think, stage manager? To have one person that's help us to segue. Lisa Williamson, are you still with us, Lisa? Lisa says, most times the gentlemen who look my way are about 20 years younger. I love Lisa. Lisa says, I've been told I look 25, keeping fit and all these things. Honestly, how do I attract the 35 to 55 group? Lisa, we would love to pull up a comfy couch for you to join us in our live class on our live class stage, and we'd love to offer you a microphone if you're so willing. So as we wait for Lisa to join us, our stage manager will tell me when. Oh, Lisa is quick on the draw. Hey there.
Yes, hi, how are you?
Hey, good evening and welcome.
Yes, thank you.
No problem. So Lisa, give us an idea of, specifically, what are some of the things that you think the 20, the younger age group find attractive about you, other than physicality? Is it a youthful spirit or youthful energy? That's one question from me. And the other one is it a case where age and stage is critical to you? Suppose you find a 29, a 29 or a 32-year-old who is, on a journey of leveling, you're willing to make an exception, for example.
Okay, so from the perspective of what the young man might be attracted to, I think it's a combination of the physicality. I walk a lot. I do make the effort to keep fit and eat well. Just to clarify as well, I'm in my 40s, right? Heading to 50 actually. And I do have a youthful exuberance as well. I teach teenagers at some of my classes, I lecture, and more often than not, some of those students are attracted to me as well. And I'm just not going there. That is a segue into the other question that you had. 29, I think it might be stretching it a bit. I think that the age range I gave was 35 to 55. Even 35 would seem a little bit young, because I think, well, for me, for some persons, it might be different. They can have certain similarities in the way in which they do things, interests, and where they are in life. For me, it might be stretching it just a little bit. I'm more interested in someone who is as light-hearted as I am, and actually is as fit as I am. And he might not be as fit as I am, but at least is interested in those kinds of things. We can have those conversations, go for walks, and so on. So I really have had a challenge with it. I really, really have had a challenge with it. And the last guy I dated seriously was about 7 years ago. And I took a conscious break. I did some research and so on. And now in my mid-40s, it's like anybody who is interested is at least 20 years younger than I am.
And that's not the direction you want to go in, Lisa.
No, it's not. It's not. And the other guys I know, and the older ones, I know they're going to be, probably divorced or widowed, have a couple kids. I'm okay with that, to be honest. I am.
So I'd love to jump in and get Noran's perspective on this as we're helping Lisa to process it in terms of, I don't know if we can be very, very, very prescriptive. That's not our aim, but certainly does Noran have any feedback in terms of how, if possible, can Lisa attract, the more, the age more and more in keeping with her preference?
All right, well, good evening, Lisa. Thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing what you just shared with us.
Okay.
I wanted to find out the places you frequent, your social settings. Have you ever come across anybody who might fall into that category of the man you're looking for?
A couple times that I was in the airport.
Anywhere other than the airport? Maybe what is your social setting like? Is the bar, the plays, the soca, carnival, whatever it is? Where do you go when you're at your most relaxed? And when you're at those places, do you see the men that you might probably be looking for?
Usually when I'm walking, and I walk in every single direction from where I live to at least see some different people. And I may go to plays and things like that. I'm not going to shoot down church because I'm a church goer, but I've kind of, based on the relationships I've had before, I have to be careful how I say this, but certain groups of people, I'm not necessarily looking in that particular direction right now.
The
Does
reason
that
I
answer your
ask
question?
mainly, well, it does in some way, because what I'm suggesting is maybe create an environment where you might just happen to see the people that you're looking for. What works for me is little lines at people's houses, friends of friends of friends, in meeting
Mhm.
places like that when people are not necessarily going out to find somebody. You might
Okay.
find somebody's natural essence coming out. So let's say you have a friend with a nice backyard. Of course, this is going to be post COVID when we can actually interact with each other.
Yes,
But if you have
safely.
somebody's
Yeah.
if you have somebody's backyard or somebody's living room, everybody carry their music and listen to some music. Invite friends of friends and just listen to the people around you. You might actually find somebody coming out of the crowd that you probably didn't realize before. Because right now, I don't think men are necessarily ready wanting to go out into it, especially men of the age group you're referring to. They, like you
Okay.
said, they've been widowed, they've been divorced, they probably have had new relationships post their marriage, which did not end very well. So they themselves are very guarded. So unfortunately,
Okay.
they're not going to be as willing to, because they're going to be very suspicious automatically of any woman coming to them. There are some set of men who don't want to date women their age because it thinks it ages them, because they are probably still looking to be hot boy out the road, even at their whatever age. So you're gonna have to do a lot of sifting, but the best way to sift is to be around groups of people, like-minded as much as possible, and you'll be surprised based on the conversations you put out, you'll see what comes back to you. Because water will always find its level, no matter where you go. Eventually, somebody who is of your mind frame will start coming through, and you can go from there.
Okay. It's taking a while, to be honest, but yeah, you've said a few things that are quite useful there. That they don't want to go out. It never really occurred to me actually. That
Right now, I think most men of a certain age, we might go to the bar with our brethren a few times, but we're leaning more toward staying at home and lining at home with friends who you can swear for the most part. I think that's where social is going for people of a certain age. That's where I am. I prefer to go to somebody's backyard and sit down and have a drink and listen to music
Okay.
than find some random bars. So it's about the environment. So
Okay.
that's my advice.
Just a side point though, I'm actually ringing in from the UK. Not a lot of backyards here.
There
Ah,
are quite a few, you'd be surprised. Look at Carla's face right now. You'd be surprised. But like I
Okay.
said, it's about
Okay.
finding the like-minded people. Running is a very big thing now, and there are so many running groups around.
Yes.
Get yourself involved in them on a social level first, and then see what rises to the top.
Okay. All right. Thanks for that.
and Lisa, thank you so much for joining us all the way from the United Kingdom. We're so happy to have you, and
Okay.
I love that you're so engaged in the convo. So I'm grateful
Yes.
that you were able to come and engage with us.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
And Noran, excellently managed. I think it's important, even while we're quote unquote looking, to be mindful about living our best lives, period, point blank, before looking actively, and out of that, sometimes you just walk up into people who are also living their best life. I came across this other meme, which I love, which says something like, you have to want to spend the rest of your life with yourself first. So you should be in love with your life. And I mean, we're here talking with the JN group. I mean, the single period, intentionally single period, is a time to sort out some life insurance and so, some health insurance items and documentations. Brush up your resume, be more marketable. Carla keep laughing at me, I don't know why. Spend some time getting to know your preferences in every area of life. What do you really, if you should meet a partner right now who comes to you and says, hey girl, so what do you enjoy doing? Ideally, we shouldn't have to go looking at a journal from 2015 to figure that out. We should be able to say, I like being outdoors. I don't like going camping. So, you know what I mean? Know yourself. If somebody shouldn't come up to Noran right now and say, Noran, what kind of music do you like? If I want to buy you like, a CD is still a kit, right? What would you like me to put on it? Ideally, we should know ourselves enough to at least have a buoyant conversation. So let us look at this time. The JN group thought it important to have this conversation, especially now in COVID, where physical distancing is a real thing, and loneliness can creep in, etc. So it's important for us to just firm up the fact that, listen, you are enough by yourself, first of all. You are enough single, you are enough divorced, you are enough separated, you are enough, period. We have to start there from the self-love perspective. The other place I think it's great for us to start from is that you are, I believe in God, so I'm going to say you are God's first gift and greatest gift to yourself. And the way we treat ourselves is a reflection of our valuing of that gift. So I remember Joby saying it earlier and being quick to add the disclaimer, as many of us do, that I'm not trying to say that we have to be selfish, because immediately once we start talking about self-care and we start talking about setting boundaries and we start talking about what we deserve, immediately we kind of feel like we're being judged even by our own selves about being selfish. Yeah, Carla, I see your hand is up. Please jump up on here.
Yes. Kamala, I'm laughing at you because you're hilarious. That is why. Like you're shutting me down and I'm trying to manage because I'm on camera. But I think there's something that everybody has kind of pinpointed and I want to put it together. Sevana said it. You have to keep checking in with your partner. You cannot be afraid to ask a question that might end the relationship. That's it. When you check in, what you might come up to is we're no longer compatible. And like you just said, you have to be willing to be with yourself for the rest of your life before you launch into the relationship. And I think a lot of us are in this place where we are very fearful of the relationship that we have ending. We are very fearful of asking that question. Sometimes you feel like a little thread, and if you pull the thread, yeah, everything will go unravel. So you just don't bother with the thread. And some of us are afraid of saying, if I were to stay single forever, I'd be okay, because we feel like, oh, curse it, the universe has heard it and no, it's never going to give me a partner. Oh, God has heard me. Oh, I've cursed myself, you know? But it really comes down to that. If you are so terrified of never finding a partner, anybody that you get, you're going to cling to them. And you will approach it with this feeling of urgency. And anybody who has ever done anything with a feeling like, I have to do this, I have to do this now, you know it doesn't work, right? If you start dating with that feeling like, I got to get it done now, you are going to mess it up because you're so anxious. And it's not even desperation. It's like you're frantic about it. No, you have to be willing to accept that the relationship might end if you want to continue with a level of integrity inside of it.
Love that, Carla. We could not not get that point. I wanted us to pick up one of the lines from Joby J's song, because I tell you, I've been rinsing out that song for like the last couple of days, just on repeat and stuff. Joby J's song entitled Big Girl Thing. So you can pull it up on YouTube right now. Sevana's song, Nobody Man. I feel like these have such vibrant, well-composed lyrics as it relates to listen. I'm not going to accept it just because it's available. Okay, I have a filter through which I engage with what is coming at me because I'm worthy. Yeah, I'm deserving. Joby J, my favorite line in your song is, "I'm not around to cut you off. If all you do, I waste my time and add no value to my life." And the last part is what gets me when Joby says, "I have to be selective with my space and my energy." I feel like we could have said hallelujah upon that. Right?
Hallelujah. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Yeah,
Listen.
absolutely. And then when Sevana adds her piece about the fact that what goes Sevana, my mind too beautiful and my soul too pricey. I said,
Soul too pricey.
Because my soul is too bright and my heart is too pricey. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So therefore, only deserving people can come up in this space. I think it's really critical for everybody to walk away, so to speak, from our fabulous life class this evening, right? With those, adopted standards. And then from Noran's perspective and the other men on here, in some spaces, Noran, and tell me if I'm wrong, in some spaces, it's almost like, we can't turn down nothing because man a man, you understand? There is a limited discrimination, so to speak, or discernment around who is worthy. Do you find that to be the case in some spaces?
I'm sure that there are some men who have that mind frame of, if it's a woman, automatically they are ready and willing to go. That again has to do with how you're brought up, has to do with your nature and your nurture growing up. But honestly, there are so many people out there that can waste your time, whether intentionally or not. As men, I think we need to be very, 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 very careful. Not everybody has an ulterior motive, but everybody has a plan. And that plan may or may not align with yours. So you have to be careful. You have to look out. And not because it's a female and you must automatically be open. No, you have to be specific with your heart.
Yes.
Very, very specific with your heart. Now, if your heart is big and you enjoy connections versus relationships, and if that's the kind of guy you are, that's fine because there's nothing wrong with that. But guys who think like that are usually seen as, oh, you just want to get as many women as you want. No, I don't want to be with somebody to say this is it for the rest of my life. Some people who don't like monogamy or get bored easy, whatever the case may be. But sometimes they enjoy having experience with other people. But unfortunately, once the physical aspect has changed, once sex gets involved, then it's a reset and it's usually a circus after that because not everybody can necessarily manage that. So you have to know what you're doing and be as specific as you can before you decide you're going to settle down.
Absolutely. And another thing I like to share that people sometimes go, I always say, let us side chick or side man responsibly. And what does that mean? If you make that choice, do it responsibly, meaning please communicate clearly what you are about and what you are not about. Nobody should be trying to judge you about if you don't want to get married right now or ever, if you don't want to settle down, you just want to see what's popping, you understand? Then that's what you want. And ladies, and well, everybody, not just women, let us be intentional about receiving people's truths and not trying to change it. Sometimes we try to use our sensuality as women and our sexuality, and we talk about the power of the vajayjay, right? Can I say that on here? I think so. And we talk about the power of that in terms of its impact to mess up a man and just get him to do what you want him to be doing. And I promise you, it's a losing game. You understand? Because people have different interpretations of the sexual act, and you may not come out winning, so to speak. Noran.
What you said a while ago is very, very true about the power of the woman, of the womanhood.
Yes.
But also what a lot of women need to hear, and it's a very harsh truth, it's not as powerful as we may let you think.
Wow. Life
It's
class just
not
got
as powerful as you think. Granted, it has a lot of power over a lot of people, but understand, if that's the if that's the muscle that you decide to throw out there, don't get surprised when all somebody wants to do is feel the muscle and then leave.
On that note, life class has graduated. Noran, straight facts though. As the Americans say, straight facts, no printer, right? This is absolute truth. The reality is the power for somebody's choices lies only internally. Okay? Only internally. People can allow themselves to be influenced by you. People can feel as though, listen, I respect Carla, I respect Sevana to the point where, yes, Carla is suggesting and inspiring me to change. Don't get it twisted. Ultimately, the responsibility and the choice is the person's. And Joby J has a burning point. I can see it in your eyes, Joby. Proceed.
But yeah, I want to comment on what Noran said. It probably harsh and so, but it's the truth. I feel like sometimes we as women we can behave as if when I give it to you, you will be changed in the twinkling of an eye. You will be transformed, and you will never be the same. But it's not really. That's not realistic. And Noran also said something about if it is that we put that aspect of ourselves out there all the time, at the forefront all the time, we can't be upset when we get persons coming to us and only being interested in that. It's not the truth. It's not the truth. So I just really wanted to agree with that point or those points. Yeah.
Sevana, come through, sis. Come through.
All right, just want to add to what Joby just said. Yes, your worth is not tied up in your vajayjay, as Kamala has said. You are much more than that. You are your mind, you are your goals, you are your vision, you are, and just because you are too, you know what I mean? Like it starts off with just you being, and that being something that's valuable to offer. And then also to add to that, if somebody rejects you, it does not affect your value. It doesn't mean that you depreciate because the person with it at yearn over and did really want to say no, not you. You know what I mean? Your value stays the same, and it can actually even increase based on what lessons you choose to like lock into after being rejected.
Excellent, excellently said. We are almost at 8:30 and we have a special treat for you. We're gonna have Joby J and Sevana dropping, right, their tracks in live class, right on the live class stage. It's virtual, but it don't have to be lame, right? So that we can just feel the energy and hear some of the lyrics that can inspire us to really stand up for ourselves, especially as women, as it relates to setting standards. I'm gonna start with Lady Sevana. Are you ready for us, Sevana?
I am ready for you. Let me just go ahead and attach my speaker to my phone. One moment.
While you're doing that, let me just announce that our poll has been launched, our final poll. So you can go ahead and just give your feedback, after sitting on here for almost 2 hours and nobody moved, the number has barely fluctuated. Our attendees have been very focused. How are you feeling now? What are your thoughts about your relationship and and what your mood is like as we're about to close out? I thoroughly enjoyed this convo, and I feel like this would almost warrant a part 2, but unfortunately, we have another topic for next week. So I guess you can join us on our individual platforms. Carla is at More Talk JA, correct? That's her handle. Joby J is at Joby J, just like her name is right now, no space. Sevana is at Call Me Sevana, and Noran is at Noran Price. That's correct, right? And I'm at White Lotus Blooms. So follow us. You may just see us do like a collab off of the live class stage. You never know, yeah? And join us again for sure next week. But hold on, don't leave yet, because Sevana is going to take us through the streets of Nobody Man next. Okay.
All right, let's go. If you want my love, have it, make it worth my while. Me say if you want my loving, yeah, Havana in a dancehall style. Them about for a weekend love. I said them want for beside peace, only a night peace, love off indecent love. And I try to make sure no one be a wife, it want to the freak of love. Me not myself to no man if it means me have to go eat some bun. Cause my soul too bright and my heart too pricey. I long for love that will just never ever end. And I want you for myself. Don't think it's wrong to have these standards, no offense. I mean, no like embarrassment, no one, nobody man. Oh, we don't want nobody boyfriend that no fit for brand. Nobody man, no one's man. Oh, we don't want nobody boyfriend. Hey, I can't be alone if me not in the mess. Faithfulness is what me expect. My high standards and self-respect. Not take back my chop, not take no check. Everybody love after cheating. After midnight, love team screeching. But me I look at someone with meaning. I'm in the bag of excitement thing. No one, nobody man. Oh, me no want nobody boyfriend that no fit my brand. Nobody man. No one's man, me say nobody man, nobody boyfriend, no. I don't want nobody else but you, just me and you. Oh, we could be a team, share our dreams, but we have to keep it clean. No one, nobody man. Nobody gal either, nobody boyfriend, nobody husband. Hey.
Listen, Stefana, straight like in the comment section for that. Yeah, thank you so much. I'm going to invite the audience members to drop your favorite line from both songs, because Joby J is going to come on with Big Girl Thing right now. Yeah, so I'm going to invite you to drop your favorite lines in the comments when I tell you to go. Okay, so just listen carefully and tell me what resonates with you. And you're going to drop your favorite line from the anthems, and then we're going to have a little something, okay? So for Joby, I'm going to play Joby's track over here, and Joby is going to be about the performing of Big Girl Thing. Joby, you ready?
I have a question. I'm wondering if, because you're playing the audio, if it will like lag and then I'll be like off, you know? Like.
So you want to do a cappella for us? We ain't got no issue. Be great.
Yeah, I feel like I'll just do the acapella because I mean I don't want to be running away from the music.
Be great, sis. Be great.
All right. Me sorry if you never get to treat me like you want to treat me. Me not gonna make you take your dirty foot and walk over me. I'm not a toy for you to treat how you please. Use me, abuse me, and then you leave. I'm a big girl now, thick skin, strong bones. I'm at your mind, and yes, a girl that knows. But karma is a thing, so I will leave it be. Man, I go stress myself and take the work from these big girl thing. 79 and a laughing thing. 79 and a romping thing. Eventually, your true colors will show. I'm in a rough to cut you off. If all you do is waste my time, no add no value to my life. I have to be selective with my space and my energy. I'm sorry if you never get to tell me more lies. When come to me with fake tears in your eyes. Me must say I've done my part for it. Think me I gotta change my mind cause you say you're sorry. I loved you, yes, but I love me more. I know my worth, I know there's better things in store. So karma is a thing, I'm gonna leave it be. Man, I gotta stress myself and take the work from the big girl thing. 79 and a laughing thing. 79 and a ramping thing. Eventually, your true colors will show. I'm in a ramp to cut you off. If all you do is waste my time, no add no value to my life. Yeah. I have to be selective with my face and my energy. Yeah, the girl thing.
Listen, lighter in the comments, big tune in the comments. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So now we're going to have the ultimate final giveaway from live class this evening, and the prize will go to that. Before we jump there, I want to tackle a comment, a question that came from, was it Danny, Carla? Yeah. Danny says, what happens when your friend circle or social network is small to non-existent? Opportunities to meet persons, to meet people becomes limited. I'm not going to sit in a bar on my own and give the impression I'm single, in bracket, for a lot of reasons. How does one make friends in this country? I mean, just to wrap it up, especially because it's COVID time and we have so many, considerations about companionship and so on and comfort in this time. Can all the panelists just drop one quick, final statement on what Danny and the rest of us can do in terms of meeting people, being more social, even while maintaining physical distancing? Any thoughts on that? Let me start with Noran.
As far as during this social distancing time, again, as I said to Lisa, stick to what you enjoy and see who comes around and floats around at that point in time. Water will find its level after a while.
Thank you, Noran. Miss Carla Moore.
I would say that two things. One, social distancing is happening, but social media is popping. I have seen actual friendships form in an IG live, wild as it was to witness. And the other thing is, sometimes you don't have to go, and I think Noran said something similar. You don't have to go to a place looking for a partner, but if you go to a place where people who share your interests are and just explore the interest, then you will encounter people there. But yes, it can be very difficult to make the friends. I understand.
Love it, Carla. Thank you. Joby, what are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, okay. I mean, I'm a naturally very extroverted and friendly person, but I feel like for people who are probably not that type of person, and you don't want to feel like you're not being true to yourself by doing things that you honestly don't enjoy. I feel like, as Carla said, instead of like going out and for example, if a bar is not your thing, just try to put yourself in spaces where people are there who share similar interests, and see how that goes. Try to spark a conversation with somebody if that is something that you can do, or even if somebody tries to talk to you, kind of be open to that conversation and see how things go. And also sometimes it is, I don't think anything is wrong with taking ourselves out of our comfort zone a little bit sometimes. Sometimes that is necessary, because sometimes we can, just be like, oh, well, that's not me, so I don't want to do it and I don't want to try it. And sometimes you can try something and you find that, you know what, I like this, or it works. So I feel like we have to try to find that balance between, still being true to ourselves, but still, finding a way to make things work. So yeah.
I appreciate that so much, Joby. And Sevana?
Yes. You're asking what are my thoughts on
Danny's question as it relates to, how can we put ourselves in spaces where we're more social, with the view ultimately to perhaps meet a partner while we're even maintaining some, social distancing.
social media, right? Social media. Use LinkedIn, use Facebook, Instagram. It's literally its own Tinder. You know what I say? If you have an Instagram profile, guarantee that somebody is trying to slide into your DMs. Check the DM them. See if I'm cute. I don't know. Like, see if him say something that makes sense. Twitter, if you're on Twitter, I think that there are, if you're a little bit older, there are platforms that are for a more mature audience as well, that you can research, you can Google it and find it. Because what better way to not have somebody, cough in your face and give you COVID than to just stay on the internet and interact there.
And of course, please filter all DM slides through, through your standards. Does this person approach me with respect? Does he or she come off immediately as somebody who's worthy of my time and energy, etc., etc., etc. So the filters need to be up, right? So now we're going to move to our final giveaway, and then we're going to share the poll results, and then we're going to say goodbye until next time. So for the giveaway, I'm going to enlist the services of a couple of people to help me choose the winner. The activity to win the ultimate prize for this evening session is to drop in the comments at least 2 lines from Joby J's song and or Sevana's song, which speak to your own journey of self-worth and setting standards, yeah? And I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to type that up real quick, and you can start dropping them as of now, right? So let's see you go. Which of the line them speak to you? And just put at the bottom which song it is that you're referencing. So Debbie, me come out real strong, Carla. All right. All right. So they're off to a great start. So let us see now. 30 seconds. And I'm going to just ask the social media gurus on here. That's Noran, are you a social media guru? Do you consider yourself to be one of those?
Not a guru, just a watcher.
Just a watcher. All right. So I'm going to enlist the services of Joby J and Sevana, right? But then there might be bias. So let's pick on Carla. Carla, we're going to choose the ultimate winner, right? 30 seconds up right now. Carla, it is your job now to help me scroll through. So we're putting a stop, right? After Kadisha, that's the last entry. We're going to now scroll through and see which of the, it doesn't have to be 2 from one person, it could just be one of them. And we're going to choose an accurate depiction of one of the lines from the song, and we're going to choose a winner. Okay? Hey! So while they're doing that now, since entries have closed, Sevana, you want to give us 2 more lines? Give us some musical vibrate. You want to give us 2 more lines? Yeah, just play the track while we're seeking up.
Yeah. No problem.
But Jamaican people are like juggling in the background. Are you ready? Anything else that piques me? It's hard.
It's challenging.
It's challenging, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm seeing one.
Which one you see?
I see one person who put, I see Tessie at 37 said in the bar excitement thing.
Yeah.
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 Um,
And I
and
was
also,
looking
go
at
ahead,
Lady
Carla.
Reeves. Lady Reeves. Oh, me
Mhm.
don't want nobody boyfriend, it not fit my brand.
All right, that's accurate, right, Savannah?
Is that what it says?
That's accurate. Okay. So we have one person who has accurately depicted a lyric from Savannah Siren's Nobody Man. And Carla, if you could just find us somebody now who has dropped an accurate lyric from the other one, from Joby J's Big Girl Ting, right?
Okay.
From the other song.
And
Then
we
we
search for Joby.
two winners.
Oh, Joby.
We search for Joby. All right.
Carla, it's a hard work, man.
Me say, it's all man up with this work. All right, let me see. All right, I see Denise Bolton say, I love him, yes, but I love me more. Is that it, say? I love him, yes, or I love you, yes?
I love you, yes.
I love
I
you.
love you, yes, but I love me more.
Carla, take the work serious, you know.
I am a university lecturer, Miss Grading is my life.
Grading is your life. So while Carla is coming up with the second winner, can we just congratulate? What's the name of the first person, Carla? You remember?
Lady Reeves. Well, no,
Lady
because
Reeves.
actually, I think we found like two. I'm confused. No.
Lady Reeves, congratulations. You are one of the winners of a fabulous wellness box
Big up
from
yourself,
the
Lady
White Lotus
Reeves.
Club's Wellness Connection. Congratulations. And as we're getting the second, can we just drop some blue hearts and yellow hearts in the comment section for the JN brand, the JN group, for putting together such an awesome and cool and relevant, coping program, during COVID in the body of the JN Thrive Life Class series. Yeah.
Somebody did. Me not in a no ramping. Joby, you did say that?
Yeah, I did say big girl thing, seminar in on a ramping thing, seminar in on a laughing thing.
Nicole Clark session in a no ramping.
What's the name of this second winner?
Nicole Clark, me not in a no ramping.
Yeah.
All the hearts going up for the JN group. Much love to JN. Much love to Kevin, our behind the scenes stage manager. To all our amazing panelists who showed up in excellent and come out strong tonight. Yeah. Thank you so much. We're going to now throw to our poll results. Are you able to see them, everybody? Let's see what happened in the end. Question 1, I'm happy I participated in the session. 99% of you all said yes, I am, and I feel very good about that. Question 2, I feel good about my future. 93%. Yeah. Question 3, I am taking steps to improve my personal relationships and achieve my goals. 94% of you said yes. Number 4, I am making plans to improve my business or career. 93%. Question 5, if you are single, are you comfortable being single? 70% of you said yes, 30% said no. And the last one was, if you are not single, are you comfortable with your relationship status? 69% of you said yes, and 31 said no. So I think we have really fleshed out the topic in a real, wholesome way tonight. I love that we were able to tackle some of the individual questions. For those of you who feel as though you may need some additional support as it relates to COVID-19, if it is that you are a JN member, one of the benefits of being a JN member is accessing one-on-one counseling through one of our partner agencies. So do reach out to the JN ombudsman, right, by email in order to get hooked up with that opportunity. And for our 2 winners this evening, please, it's important that you send us your contact information. You can send it via private messaging on here so that we know how to contact you after the session so you can actually get your wellness box. And of course, the people who want the credits are good to go a long time, right? So from me over here, Kamala McWhinney, I am beyond ecstatic at how our session shaped up. I love it. I'm seeing awesome feedback for everybody. So thank you so much, Carla Moore, Sevana, Noran Price, and Joby J for an amazing show up this evening. You guys showed up and showed out in excellence. You look good, you sound good, and the thought processes were like on fire. So thank you for
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Say again. Somebody was adding a comment.
No, I was
Okay.
I'm so happy to have been a part of this.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing great things. We're hearing amazing class, busting a blank. Danny, come with the energy. Come back next week, Danny, please. All of you. Shamika says, happy I attended. Lovely evening, guys. A big thank you. Great job to all. Big up, JN. Part 2, please, Kamala, listen. It's not my decision alone, but I'm praying about it, right? Let JN fly the gate. Krista says, absolutely awesome. Happy I attended. Great work. You made my night. Listen, beer love. You guys made my night. So thank you so much for the opportunity, JN Group, and thank you to every single one of you who showed up. Jody K said we need a part 2. Jennifer said we need a part 2. Carla, Sevana, Noran, Joby.
Carla, I adore you.
Right?
Please remember.
Carla is awesome. Carla is awesome.
Carla is so
We love you, Carla.
Stop the man. Stop the man.
Carla showed all the way up, the way we fully.
And also Kamala.
Yes. Yes.
Kamala, yes, a round of applause for you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. For all of you who want to catch the replay, you can catch it in the JN Groups Facebook page, and there is a private group that you can be added to. I think it was sent in your emails. So log on to the group. We can start some more intimate conversations there. So please join up. Share the replay with a friend. Use the hashtags, hashtag Thrive Together, hashtag People First, hashtag JN Life Class, hashtag my 2 favorite ones, hashtag JN Cares, and hashtag JN Strong. So thank you to everybody. Come back next week. Next week, we're talking about quarantined abroad. We're going to be giving support to people who can't come home, or the people who maybe in Jamaica and can't go home. So we're going to be talking about coping and all the things that come along with the adventure of the pandemic. Yes? So grab a friend or 5 next week. Come back and let's be great again together. Signing out from my side. Thank you to all. Have a beautiful rest of the week and continue to be great. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, no. How do I? Okay.